Good morning, everyone. This is Tim here from Implied Volatility and Reach Trading. All right, so we've got Pat and Ivan on the line here. Today we'll start out with a quick general advice warning as we do every week. Any advice given is general only and it does not consider your circumstances. You need to decide if it is appropriate to you, and past performance is not an indicator of future returns. We'll have a quick look at the markets to start off with, and feel free to send through any stocks that you want us to have a look at. We'll go into more detail around just by typing them in the chat box below.
Good day, Tim. How are you doing? Patrick here. Welcome to everyone. What's going on with the market today? We've seen a bit of a sell-off. Any driving that?
It was an interesting start. So the futures were down about 26 points this morning, and then the market on open fell about, would have been close to 50 quite quickly. Now it's gone a little bit further. It's a decent fall.
So, but overall, we're still tracking up. You know, the trend is still up. We're having a sell-off today. We're still, we're at a support level. I don't know that means too much to anyone at the moment in terms of a directional perspective. We're not getting any leads on our breakout strategies, so lit longs, lit shorts. Obviously on the XJO, we were getting up towards the 52-week high, but we haven't quite made it through there. US market's been charging along, broken through those new highs. We haven't done so yet. I guess we will trade the breakout on the upside, and we'd be, I guess, backing that there will be a significant move from that point up, or there will be a significant failure. But at the moment, there's not really too much there on the XJO. There's not a lot of trades flagged at the moment. We're in a funny period with expiries and the like, so for our lit long strategies, you probably won't see a lot coming out, but in just over the next week. But probably Lendlease is the one to have a look at. There's a couple that have been coming up fairly regularly over the last period of time. We're getting sort of broken record on some of these, but we trade what we see, and they're the trades that have been there. So we're looking at Lendlease here. We've a green day today, but so this trade has presented itself numerous times, and it's still looking strong. I guess there's an entry signal there, but I guess the entry signals have been there fairly consistently. So I guess most people that are in these that will be looking at that are already set in a position. There's not too much to say other than we would still be maintaining our position. We'd still be lit long. Obviously, for anyone who's gone into one of those trades recently, you've probably got time decays now working in your favour. But you'd still be sitting in there. James Hardy, Tim, do you want to have a quick look at James Hardy?
James Hardy. Here we go. So it's had an interesting run. Been flagged quite a few times all the way through this period here, been ranging within this channel trending upwards, and then earlier this month pulled back a little bit. Would have been the period would have been a signal to close off the sold leg, but then it came back through that 50-day moving average, so you would have ended up selling that previously sold leg again, and then ridden the highs as it came all the way through and broke out from this upward trend range that it was trading in. It's been an interesting one to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. So, someone who's in that trade at the moment is obviously, adjusting, but we'd be still maintaining. We'd still be sitting in the trade happily enough. As we said, I guess the only other one that's really been coming up is A&N. Ansell.
Let's have a look. Ansell Limited.
So the trade's been there. I think for people that got in when it initially broke out, it's been a good trade. My issues with it now would be simply, although it does look bullish, when are you wrong? And you've got to wait, based on our rules, quite some time before you hit the 50-day moving average, which would be a signal to go short. But the distance between current share price and that 50-day moving average is probably a little bit too wide. So by the time you get to switching, you've probably done your dough. So I don't know, we'd be going after this. It does technically look strong, but I'd be probably waiting for some more consolidation and the next move up, but or at least for the 50-day moving average to catch up to the current share price. That's basically it from us in terms of trades. I mean, it's a funny day today. We've all been watching on, looking at the XJO to see what happens there. This morning, we're up in, Ivan and I are in Sydney today. We've opened an office up here. I think we mentioned on the webcast last week that we've got our team of traders and advisors up in Sydney. They started on Monday. So we were up here. We have a meeting with the ASX this morning. We've got the next options trading game going live Monday. So that's come around really quickly. They wanted to slot one in before the end of the year, and they've just run their investor days activities. So they wanted to slot another one in, so which is great. So we'll all be trading again. See if Tim can win the game again. Although Tim's going to hang his boots up.
That'd be great.
Tim. One way, mate.
We'll see what happens. I think I've got too much work to do.
That's what I like to hear. Hey, Dave's asked about Qantas. Do you want to just bring the chart up at Qantas?
Yeah. Here we go.
So the question was, why didn't this come up?
Looking at the ADX, that's above 20. Today it won't come up because we don't have any expiry days within the 30 to 60 day range. So expiries will be 29 days for this current expiring month, or over 60 days, looking at 70 days until January's expiry day.
Yeah. Okay, Trudy's asked about Macquarie and CSL. Just want to bring those charts up.
And while he's doing that, what is that strange red drink you're drinking?
It's called the Macquarie. Need a bit of boost today.
Yeah,
that drink.
I hope you were working hard.
Right, don't mind us just talking amongst ourselves here. All right, so what do we got? We've got Macquarie up here. So your question regarding Macquarie, it has, I guess, it probably presented itself. Where's the ADX? It's probably a bit low, isn't it?
It would have been,
yeah. So, other than the ADX, it met the rules for a LITT long, but it's still, if you made that move, it would have been breaking the rules, but it still would, if you were going to follow them on going from there, you'd be watching that 50-day moving average and doing nothing at the moment. Are you in a trade on that at the moment, Trudy? Is that a directional trade or condor? I'll wait for Trudy to answer. And Ivan, any comment?
I'm guessing looking where the IV is, I probably would think it's not an iron condor, but I get just looking from following it from strategy. Yeah, so ADX needs to be above 20 for that Trudy, and it needs, it's nearly there, but it's not quite there. So need that clean break of the 52-week high.
CSL, Tim?
CSL.
Going on in the market again, well, I know how slow that computer is while he's ringing that up. But, oh no, what? Why is it working for him? It's you.
Yeah.
That's right. We were looking at CSL last week.
Yep.
Yeah, and been ramping as it always does.
Yeah.
couple of these around 270. Remember when it broke through 200 and everyone freaked out?
Mm-hmm.
I saw some serious shorts going in around that 200 level, thinking it was never going to break, and then it broke, and then it was just an immediate short squeeze up, and
Like Cochlear.
and then but then it went back under 200 out of that big sell off, and then yeah, it's amazing. It's interesting. But yeah, around the high, so that'll be continuing. So I don't know, Trudy, if you got on before, but that'll be. So what happens when the ADX is as high as it is now? So the high ADX generally talks about the strength of the trend. It's really, for those of you that haven't had a lot of exposure to it, it's actually mathematically quite a complicated formula, but the idea is it tries to pick up momentum, and all it tries to do is to show how strong a certain piece of momentum is. So when it's so high, all it's indicating is that the strength is real on the basis of sort of it looks at the daily ranges, where the price opened up versus where it's closed, and it tries to sort of and it tries to sort of demonstrate that. So what we're just looking for is that there is a trend there, which is why we look at that 20. Paul mentioned CSL on monthly looks toppy. The one thing I'll say, Paul, is that I was lucky enough to learn this lesson very early in my trading. I started trading full time the 14th of July 2008 when GFC was just going into full blown mode. I remember there were a lot of things that were looking like they were bottoming out. And then in 2009, around about middle of the year, July-ish, a lot of things, and then towards August in particular, things were looking pretty toppy there. And so the key takeaway lesson from that is that the trend for CSL is clearly moving higher. And I would be, if I was to put a trade on right now, it would be very much towards the upside. For those of you that did get onto the CSL, and full disclosure, I haven't traded for probably about a month because I've just been flat out doing stuff and just don't want to be distracted. Just so everybody knows, so if everybody's thinking when I'm kind of not following stocks and forgetting them, I've literally not looked at the market for about a month. And so hopefully now with these guys here, the premium team, hopefully they can just look after me so that I don't have to look at the market and I can follow the trading systems. But the thing about CSL is what we'd be hoping for is that if you got onto it last week or the week before and you're in that trade, if it is indeed the turning point, which is the way that's running away, it's hard to imagine that is the top. That literally is a steaming train. But if it returns and it turns around and it gets slammed to the downside, then that's exactly what we want, right? We're in a lit long until it's not. And I don't know, can you go back to the daily chart, Tim? And this is the kind of trade that that's almost perfect from a lit long perspective, because you get in, it's a trending stock. And the only downside there is just looking at that the 50-day moving average is not catching up to the price action.
Yeah.
So you might want to wait for it to consolidate. If you haven't got into that, you might want to consolidate, wait to consolidate a little bit, or adjust your stop loss. I mean, the system when you're backtesting and you're running numbers, it's difficult to go in and calculate every single possibility, which is why we've used a firm 50-day moving average. But this is now where if you're looking at this and you want to you can see that, okay, 275 seems to have been some level of resistance. You want to be buying that at just a bit after, as soon as it breaks 275. And if Ron's on the line, maybe you'll be looking at the volume as well. But then what you would be looking at on the downside is pick a level of resistance or support. So 257 would probably be that bit right there. And so, but maybe just still a bit higher. You look at where those tops are, that would probably be your level of support that you'd be looking at. A break through that, so you don't wait for the 50-day moving average. You wait for a clean break of the support, and you hope that it's consistent, and then you would end up going and reversing that position. But this is where it gets a little bit tricky from my kind of the mathematical point of view is that then you are starting to go away from the trading system, and it's not backtested territory because it's very difficult to backtest that kind of stuff. And you are getting into the land of, I wouldn't say gambling, but you are starting to take, I mean, it's gambling would be, honestly, would probably be getting short in CSL right now, just on the base of that. That would probably be gambling. So you're not really, it's still calculated. The way that it's going, there's nothing fundamentally, unless something fundamentally does change. It's fundamentally strong. Clearly, there's some stuff going on at CSL, which, for people that look at fundamentals, there's clearly just a magnitude of really good news coming out. Not that I care, but it's there. And so you'd expect that it's going to continue growing. The biotech sector is getting bigger. So, that's sort of
having a fundamental view on CSL.
I am not having, I've specifically said, I specifically said I do not have a fundamental view. But I'm just saying that it's a strong sector.
Ivan said go long CSL based on strong fundamentals.
No, don't be like that. I said if you're willing to take a calculated punt.
You sound very defensive.
I am defensive. I just being called a fundamental trader hurts my feelings. I have a view.
Okay, beautiful. All right, guys. Any other questions? Anything else anyone would like to discuss? Shoot it through now. The guys are up and running. Pretty much this week, the team up in Sydney are just onboarding their traders that they work with. But if you've got any questions you want to speak to an advisor, just call the office. They'll put you through to the trading team. They will be set up to trade. So if you've got an open account and so forth, they'll be set up and in a position to trade for you as of next week, right, I believe. But we'll confirm all that and send emails around and do all of that stuff in the coming days. So yeah, all guns blazing here. So
Rowan did ask for some life advice. So Rowan, since I'm in this kind of mood, talking about fundamentals and whatnot, maybe I will break all my rules and start doing life advice.
Yeah, what's your star sign, Rowan?
Mine is Sagittarius,
right.
But I realised as I was answering that you were asking Rowan.
Yeah.
And I looked at my horoscope. Apparently, I'm going to talk more than normal, which is
STO view on direction. Well, do you want to just bring up STO? Santos for us.
I unfortunately need to run shortly.
Yep, that's okay. We're almost finished. So, Santos presented itself for a trade. That trade hasn't really done much. In fact, it's gone grounded sideways. Based on our rules, we'd still be sitting in it. View on direction would be, at this stage, we wouldn't be getting into a new trade until it broke up, but it's consolidated nicely. So that next breakup will be an attractive one. Should be nice and close to the 50-day moving average. So yeah, that would be probably all I would say there. And we did look at James Hardy. Do you want to bring that back up again, Tim? Yes. So, well, I mean, if you'd pulled the trigger and got into James Hardy when it presented itself, you would be very happy now, and time decays working in your favour. You'd just be sitting there happily, I think. So at this stage, we'd just be maintaining that position, but probably no other view at this stage. In terms of getting into the next move, probably a little bit like what we were looking at before, CSL or something like that. You'd want to see it, consolidate a little bit before the next move up. Probably just for it to line up nicely in terms of an entry.
Or have a fundamental view.
Or you could have a fundamental view. Just ask Ivan who we have a view on it.
Yeah. CBA?
CBA, sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's the perfect alignment of everything not going so awesome. Implied volatility is low, so it's not really good for a fat directional trade. The price action is pretty boring. I reckon it's good.
Buy
straddle.
Yeah.
Buy straddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything coming out? Any reporting? Anything interesting happening? No.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. The prices never lie. Implied volatility will spike.
Yeah.
Does some kind of
Yeah.
reports. So
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pen forming. Yeah. Is what Paul said. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. We'll be back online next week. Have a wonderful week. Options game going live Monday.
Trading team. I'm excited about this. This is great. I'm glad that we finally got here and we could finally announce it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pumped. We went out and had a little celebratory dinner last night, which is why OJ's sitting next to me drinking strange red drink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you guys. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get here, so by the time you guys got home was the time that I woke up.
Yeah. You should have flown up last
someone
night.
has to do.
We're based. The office is on Pitt Street, 56 Pitt Street, Sydney CBD. Yeah. All right. So, guys, we'll be back online. As I mentioned earlier, we'll get some information around the team, the different advisors, their backgrounds, what they specialise in. We'll turn trading on over the coming days, and then we'll get some more information out. And the guys are going to start. We're going to be running a couple of these sessions each week now. There's something we'll work towards over the next week or two. Beautiful. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.